So welcome. Today's energy is intense. It's a lot in a good way. Why do I say that? Because today's energy is intense. It's a lot in a good way. Why do I say that? Because the energy is giving us a sense of urgency, excitement, but there's no pressure behind it. I'm not sure if you're feeling that, but I know that right now there are videos coming out right now as we speak that are pushing revolution, which I think is funny. It's coming from certain parts of the world that really have a lot of balls to even say that. Because what they're trying to do is for us to have internal fighting. Okay? A civil you know what would be the best thing that could happen to some countries. And the last thing you want to do is be manipulated into doing things because you're all frothing in the mouth with anger. Anger and despair is going to put you in a massive disadvantage. If you have to kind of assess what I'm saying, read The Art of War. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. The Prince by Machiavelli. Those are blueprints on how some of us in various timelines, when we incarnated, some of us were just foot soldiers, not even knowing why we were in battle. Many of us didn't know why we were there. But we felt bound by duty and by honor, and we went into battlefields, leaving our lives behind because it was duty bound. We were blind. We were frothing at the mouth with indignations on things we didn't even understand. We couldn't even read, much less write our own name. So right now we're being played by a lot of different factions, some internal, some external, and it's obvious. And I've reposted some of this stuff. If you were in my group, you would have known that I don't have I have a Substack, but I have a group on Telegram. I have 3 groups. One is a esoteric book club. The other one is the Starseeds Awakening, and we have another 3rd group for just our students, me and Andromeda Flame. And we are very much involved with making sure that people don't get played and that people get educated as soon as possible on multiple things. Because there's a lot of confusing contents being created for views, likes. Don't think people are doing things for just pure integrity and for the collective truth. Don't think that, because if you look at some of the things being posted right now, you'll realize that fear is being waged, divide and conquer is being waged, internal battling, and the concept of revolution. I just saw a video. I just posted it, so you'll be able to see it, where this man in mainland China is talking about, you should revolt, blah, blah, blah. And it was on the fucking news. It's like, bravo. Good move. Bravo. I love when I'm seeing manipulation so, bravo. I love when I'm seeing manipulation so overtly done. First of all, for him to be on just so you know, for him to be on TikTok or for him to be whatever, he's on the payroll. Remember, he's on the payroll. Remember, okay, this is not paranoia. This is not, oh my God, where we've been told lies about a certain country. No, the proof is in the actions and the pudding. So before you give your heart and soul to another country going, oh, you're better than us, you're so better. Fucking learn their history. Learn their history. The Opium Wars. And but by the way, that was a fuckery by the British. Okay, it's like, let's give credit to where it's due. They fucked up. But what it did is it held a 100-year real estate contract to Hong Kong in their clutches, the British government. There's a lot of, and what it did was fucked. And then Mao came in. Well, it was why Mao came in to do what he did. And read what he did. I can't say it on TikTok. I can't. I'll fucking never have a platform ever again on this. So do your research, my friends, and then see where we're at. Are we better than them? No. We have massive problems in this country. There's no fucking doubt. But don't get played. The revolution isn't outwardly. It's not going to be played with pew-pews. If you're smart. If you're smart. Because the last thing you and I want is a Mad Max world. And if you don't know what Mad Max is, that's become part of the American language, then I suggest you go see those movies with Mel Gibson. It was one of his first flicks, besides the movie Tim. Go see Mad Max. I'm not joking. And if you saw it, I saw it 20 years ago. Yeah, go see it now with new eyes. Mad Max, it's your homework. You're going to see Mad Max, and then you're going to see Johnny Mnemonic with Keanu Reeves. Programming is not a joke. Go check it out. Okay, Johnny Mnemonic, Mad Max, Thunderdome, Tina Turner, the second one. It's fucked. That's the world they want us to create for ourselves. We're not going to play that game. Logan's Run. Watch that one. Logan's Run. Gattaca. I could tell you movies after movies on the programming of the subconscious 100 monkey effect that they want to program. We don't want any of it. And that's what you need to remember. You need to turn your back on these distractions and these laughable manipulations that are so overt it's almost comical, and do what you know you need to do. And if you don't know what you need to do, then you need to join communities that are not cultish, but who really want a roundtable discussion and who discuss not just what's happening, but how to transmute it on a spiritual frequency level. This is not a long live, by the way. I'm not here to get likes and taps and bullshit like that, okay? I do these lives not to make money. There's 3 of us on this fucking live. I guess I'm one of them. So it's not like, but again, what I find interesting is that those who speak the truth or the raw truth are not popular content creators. And I'm not the only one. I laugh about it with Andromeda Flame. If we were jumping down showing you some new pink fucking bras, I'd have at least 300 people tapping on the screen right now. I'm not asking you to do it. In fact, don't. What I'm saying to you is the game is rigged. And only certain people will listen to people like me or other people. I have a shaman, my shaman, who's on TikTok, by the way. She has barely fucking any followers. It's pathetic. And she is the real fucking thing. Why is she the real thing? I can't tell you here, but I could tell you in my other platforms. So look at things with discernment. Look at things where there are people hard right now. I can see them. Some of them are my clients. Some of them are people I don't even know. And their voices are blocked because of the trauma from many incarnations as to being people who spoke out and were burned at the stakes for the effort or thrown on the rack. There is fucking somatic trauma that moves from one incarnation to another. It's not a joke. It's real. And yet they're being pushed by the universe to speak out, and they can barely croak the words out. I'm not kidding. Be kind to them. Follow them. They're trying to tell you the truth in the way they can. And they are humble. And they are almost uncomfortable in delivering messages. But trust me, their vibration is pure. The ones that swagger and only tell you, I don't look at wars and I don't look at that. I just, we need to just be, what is the term they love to use in the New Age, toxic, narcissistic, woe is me, and I'm the one, and I'm a chosen one type of community. Hang on, what do they say? Oh yeah, the contrast. What is it? And it's another term of that pure evil. Hang on, what do they say? Oh yeah, the contrast. What is it? And it's another term of that pure evil must exist for pure good to exist. That kind of bullshit. That kind of rhetoric. When it's not true. And somebody could say to me, well, God created evil. No, she created free will. Free will. Don't confuse evil and the evolution of it and the way we're seeing it right now played out right in front of our eyes. Well, don't confuse evil and the evolution of it and the way we're seeing it right now played out right in front of our eyes as a creation by the one, the creator, the all. No. Free will was created. Evil we created. Just so you know. Just so we get this straight. And that means we have the free will to be assholes. Or not. It's really that simple. When you walk out of a store and you see a homeless person on the street or a homeless family, you have the free will to give them a $10 bill, to give them water, to ask them, hey, or ask them nothing, go back in and buy them some food, maybe some cookies for the kids, or a homeless guy or woman, some cookies, a sandwich, water, because water is apparently not a human right. You got to buy it. I'm just saying. Yeah. You have the free will to do that, or to walk by and judge them and go, what a bum. It's your free will. And maybe to say something even crueler than that. And so free will is what is going to get us out of this situation. And the free will of co-creating something beautiful is up to you. It's really, no one's going to hand it to you. The universe is not going to come in and hand you the golden keys to 5D. No, that's free will. You either want it or you don't. You either think that you're deserving of it or you don't. You either feel like you're valid and important, and I don't mean that in an egoic way, important in that you are valued for of every action and thought you do. When someone commits suicide, it reverberates. I don't care if you hear it in the newspaper. It will hit of self-loathing and torture and self-harm hit you, even if you never met them. You don't even know who the hell they are. Kurt Cobain is still talked about, 30 years later? So what a person does, I've just illustrated it basically, in the worst way you can actually use an example. What a person does matters. Basically, in the worst way you can actually use an example. What a person does matters. An unknown person, a person in high school that decides they don't want to be here anymore. That is the most egregious example, but it's a valid one. That means that the benign, loving things that you do are important. And I keep coming up with examples of people who have done good. If we can have the little guy with the mustache in the 1930s impact a fucking whole planet, then I think we can understand people who are unsung. Why? I don't know. I don't know why we have this habit of forgetting people who did really good, or the Catholic Church decides, you're a saint now. It's like, please, I don't need you to make everyone a saint, and then you're going to discuss it for hours with your golden plates and brocaded hand-weaved materials as cardinals and bishops and whatever, instead of just, going to a country that has absolutely no food, no water, no clean water, and they're having a massive famine due to, for some reason, they've decided not to cloud seed in that particular part of the world because, there's an agenda. It's funny. Angelina Jolie, in her little talk, that was really, I wonder if she planned it, but she was saying how she understood how Angelina Jolie, in her little talk, that was really, I wonder if she planned it, but she was saying how she understood how working for UNESCO and UN, I think it was the UN, right? How it really worked. How these people get some of this stuff, the resources, and some don't. And that was shocking to her. Some get resources and some don't. And some don't because they're not being good little boys and girls. They're not playing the game. What game would that be? I could say that it's about allowing companies to come in and take their resources. I just reposted something on a former Libyan leader and how we were all lied to. I just reposted it. Watch it. When you have I think he's an American, who is almost turning red in his disgust of how he was played, how the consciousness of the news was played. We're being played. The last thing you want to do is get your news from the news. It's the last thing you want to do. Somehow you want to hear what people, boots on the ground, are really saying if they're allowed to say it. Okay? That's where you want to get your news. You want to get your news from the pedestrians. Kind of like what happened with during the COVID lockdown. And people were coming out with their phones, videotaping hallway hospitals and things. They were doing all kinds of shit to show us, I don't understand. What the fuck are they talking about? And many of us who were called cuckoos we're saying, yeah, that's that jab there. Yeah, that's not a good idea. Yeah, that's not I'm not doing it. Okay? And there are people who had to do it because they were being forced or else lose their job. And many of them have dealt with health issues, and many of them got placebos. Let's be honest. Okay, oh, it never happened to me. Well, fucking, because you're lucky. Good luck. Do something with that luck. Instead of fucking crowing like a little chicken. Do something with that luck. Because when other people tell you this has harmed me, fucking believe them. Don't gaslight them. So there's all kinds of shit in the last 5 years going. We're tipping into 6 years. And from what I've heard, and just so to give you many hope, on a human timeline, I'm going to give you the human timeline. We are looking to fucking kick ass and cross the Rubicon of this bullshit called 3D in 2032. That's what they're saying. Who are they? Many spiritual people that I actually respect, that actually are smart and aren't here. In fact, some of them don't even have fucking social media platforms, okay? And they all agree 2032 is when it gets real. 2033 is we start really seeing the magic of the consciousness shift into 5D. So the revolution that you need to have is with your fucking monkey mind. That's what you want to arm wrestle. This is the great exodus is from your mind and how it's controlled you as a habit-forming, toxic loop for thousands of incarnations on this planet, and most likely other planets that reflected 3D constructs. Different, but similar in vibration, if that makes sense. Okay? And so this is about really connecting with the heart chakra and really feeling and walking through all the chambers. You have like a little compass, right? Which I always call the heart chakra as the compass of truth. But you have your own little Akashic record compass in your heart that has your blueprint of every incarnation, every experiences since you were first breathed. Your blueprint of every incarnation, every experiences since you were first breathed into existence, into the universe by the Creator. Through multiple systems of conscious awakenings. You have it within you. And the reason why hypnotherapy and Akashic readings, are so extraordinary is that, especially Akashic readings, because the power is taken out of you. Because somebody else, like somebody like me, like I'll do an Akashic reading, I'll say, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened to you. And what it does for you is it now stops you from allowing yourself to play small. Because now when you go into hypnotherapy, you'll have downloads and you'll go, what the and you'll realize, I can't play small. This is in front of my inner vision and I'm seeing shit and it's going so fast. There's no way I'm making this up. Quite often after hypnotherapy, people, was this real? Was it? Did it feel real? Yeah, fucking real. Realer than real. Yeah, well then, what do you think? The monkey mind has always been mishandled by us users when we take on these bodies. And we've allowed it to define our very fucking existence on these 3D planets. And that's been the problem. Because the monkey mind was a monkey. It was it was the internal dialogue that was because, as souls, we're fearless. We're supposed to be fearless. This is why the minute you feel fear, yeah, you're not in your soul's light. You are in the monkey mind's dark shadows. And so the monkey mind is there to say in the backseat of the car, dude, you're going 160 miles an hour in a narrow path. Is there to say in the backseat of the car, dude, you're going 160 miles an hour in a narrow passway in a mountain in Switzerland. Slow down. That's what its purpose was always for. Its purpose was, yeah, don't jump off this 5-story building. You might break your neck. You know what I mean? And we lost the plot. The monkey mind was probably, well, that's going to sound intense. I just had to download another one. The monkey mind was doing that when we first experienced the human incarnations. It was actually doing that. It was actually doing its purpose. And then somehow it was programmed, remotely programmed, not to do that anymore, to keep us caged in fear. And fear is either your ally or your jailer. I keep saying the same shit quite 100,000 different ways, because sometimes it takes the right day, the right words for it to fucking pierce the armor of your monkey mind. So if you've heard this before, you have. If you think you have, but a different way. So when your monkey mind, is emitting fear or despair, and then what evolves out of that is anger, right? And typically not righteous anger, fucking toxic anger, fearful anger, rage to just destroy. This is why you see people looting and destroying their own communities, things of that nature, right? Because the rage has turned onto itself. It's kind of like people who self-cut. You know what I mean? They cut themselves, cutting. And they do it out of self-harm. And there's rage there, though. But there's massive grief behind that rage. And we don't want that. We're not going to accept that in our consciousness on the daily anymore. We're going to use our souls as our guidepost. And we are going to train our monkey mind with mantra chanting and meditation and walks in nature. Yeah, a lot. And connection with the waters. If you're by the ocean, if you're not walking on the beach every day for at least 30 minutes a day, I don't know what you're doing. If you are not connected to nature and you are in a city, wall-to-wall cement, hopefully they have a park, like a Central Park or a botanical garden or something like that, right? Or you're going to have to drive out on the weekends. You're going to have to make it your raison d'être to get the fuck out of the, concrete jungle that you're in and move into nature, at least on the weekends. Just one day a week. It's not enough for us as humans, just so you know. But it's better than absolutely living in the concrete jungles and craning your neck. I remember living in New York City when I was a kid, going to high school there. And I would crane my neck up. I mean, literally almost bend myself backwards to look to see a sliver of sky in between those fucking buildings. I hated living in New York. Hated it. And the only respite I had was Central Park. And in those days, you could sit anymore. But I took going into Central Park very seriously, for example. So when I lived in San Francisco, it was a different thing. And we would go into Golden Gate Park, right into, in our case, we take the N Judah all the way to the beach and hang out on the beach. This was 2 to 3 times a week. This was often. Walks for us went on for 2 hours. Literally crossing the city onto the beach and back. 2-3 hours walks. So I want you to know that you may not have the kind of flexibility of time. And I know that you're probably exhausted, but once you move your body, trust me, because I've been dealing with a little bit of a challenge here and there, and I've started going on massive walks, and I'm going to graduate back to my massive hikes. We're talking about fucking deep inclines and shit like that going on for miles. It's going to shift your consciousness. Your body, sadly, I hate to say it because it's true, unfortunately, is a reflection of what's going on internally. And it's okay. You can fix that, but you need oxygen. That's the irony of us being masked during the lockdown. The one thing that heals is oxygen. We all know that. We all have common sense to know, and preventing oxygen from happening. It's insane. It's like I said, everything's been upside down. Anyway, any messages or comments? So don't be played. Stay really in your light. What does that mean, in your light? Thank you, Roger. What does that mean, staying in your light? See, it means staying in your truth. What does that mean, staying in your light? Thank you, Roger. What does that mean, staying in your light? See, it means staying in your truth. What does that mean, staying in your truth? If it makes you scared and it makes you feel depressed or in a place of despair, that's not light. That's dark. It's that simple. It's really simple. And if light is despair, that's not light. That's dark. It's that simple. It's really simple. And if light isn't coming through your darkness because you're going through it and there's nothing to be ashamed of, we've all been in a place that felt like a dark dungeon with absolutely no light in it. We felt trapped, fear-filled. We've all gone through it. None of us are fucking walking on water, my friends. But I'm going to give you a secret. It's not such a secret anyway. When you go through this, there's a mantra that I really want you to start mastering. And it is on my playlist. It's free. It's on my playlist under Mantras for Abundance. Okay? Abundance isn't money. Okay? Abundance is health. You could have like $12 million and be in a fucking wheelchair as a paraplegic. You're not going to enjoy that money. So the first point of abundance is love, health, and then you're wealthy. And the rest will come in the material aspect. But the first thing you need to master is love. And you have to turn that love to yourself. And you have to work on that love. This mantra is for the chakras, but it's also for your monkey mind to control it while you're driving, doing your dishes, whatever. And you're going to spell it out, pull out your pens and paper, or look for my mantra that I'm about to say. It's Ahom. A-H-U-M. Ahom. It also goes by Aham. H-A-M. A-H-A-M. So Ahom. A-H-U-M. Aham. A-H-A-M. Aham. Or Ahom. Ahom Prema. Prema. P-R-E-M-A. I am divine love. But why would you not just say I am? Because it's not Sanskrit, and Sanskrit's a mathematical language. Sanskrit is a very specific language. It's a very exact language, and it holds the light codes of mathematics, sacred geometry, and so forth that the Creator has imbued the universes with. So Sanskrit is the closest component, the closest to the purity of that communication system. So Ahom Prema, I am divine love. You do that to your chakras, turning them clockwise. You are the clock, right? You are the clock. That means put your thumb under your chin. That's 12. Turn your thumb to the left. That's 3, right? 3, and then put your thumb down to your belly button. That's 6. Now your thumb to the left, that is 9. You are the clock. That's clockwise, okay? So Ahom Prema, Ahom Prema. Ahom Prema, Ahom Prema, Ahom Prema, Ahom Prema. Sing your mantras. In Hindustani culture, and it's called kirtan, where they have the harmonium, they have drums, and they do kirtans, which are really, they're so evocative of something that was beautiful and peaceful, like other realms, other planets, it's almost like you might say, my God, this feels like deja vu, like I feel this energy so purely. So certain kirtans will do that to you. Another one that destroys issues like problems, blocks in your job, in a relationship, what have you, is Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya. So it's Om, like, Om, O-M, Shivaya, S-H-I-V-A-Y-A, Shivaya, it's to Shiva, Namaha, N-A-M-A-H-A, Namaha. Okay, so they're all on my playlist under Mantras of Abundance. Just look it up. And I also have guided meditations. Just do it, man. Just fucking do it. What are you going to do here? Let your monkey mind fucking beat the shit out of you every day? You can't keep fucking doing this shit. You're not going to win. You're going to be back in the loop of 3D. Not because you're a mean person, not because you're not good at your job, or not good at you're not good at anything. It's because you don't know how to control your monkey mind. And in a way, controlling the monkey mind, meditation is a practice for death. Why? Because when you die, when you're in the throes of dying, because I've watched people die, people I love die. And the reason why it's good to practice, and what is that? It's meditation. It's the intrusiveness of the monkey mind. It's the fear factor of the monkey mind. And as we're crossing the threshold from this body, which we're so used to, it's like a linus blanket, really, and we're about to shed it, some people fucking panic. I'm not kidding. That's why in the ancient ways, the Tibetan monks would go into a transcendental meditation and literally move out of their bodies to help the soul leave their body so they wouldn't get lost. Eventually, you can't get lost, by the way, in the long term of once you're gone, once you've dropped your body. But people fucking panic. So what you have to do is when you meditate, and you're used to it, and you're used to controlling your monkey mind, as you're passing, you're going to take those deep breaths, the last breaths, and you're going to be able to move into a frequency match to the explosive love you will feel, and that will literally bring you front and center to the creator of unconditional divine love, and to the realms of those that match your frequency. This is why you have to practice these ways of controlling your mind, so that when it is the most important day of your life, which is the day you drop your body, you're not fucking flaying like a fish in a net. You're actually moving out with grace, with power, with trajectory, and you're blissed out, and you're like, holy God, all the things they said about being afraid of death, don't go to the light, oh my God, and all that shit that they fucking create is going to fall away into truth, a blinding truth, into your ultimate awakening, another awakening. And there's too many of us that have been talking about reincarnation, lives between lives. Michael Newton, when I compare, and yeah, I compare and I judge. Sorry. Yeah, I like ice cream, and I prefer chocolate ice cream over, vanilla. Okay, so yeah, I fucking judge and I compare. So when I look at two different entities, Dolores Cannon doesn't hit me. And believe me, I actually have her books. I've listened to her audiobooks and so forth. And there's something about Michael Newton that hit me square and center, as if this was it. I've also read Brian Weiss. Okay? And I'm very aware of his work. And there was something that was missing that Michael Newton was able to hit upon by his own admission, by mistake. He was an atheist, okay? But there's something about it that was real for me. And that's so you tend to follow teachers that are, going to feel as if they're bringing you to the promised land, where you eat the fruit of knowledge that is filled with knowledge, not filled with fear. And that's where we have to discern. We have to decide what feels right. And I feel that so many of us give obeyances to the wrong gurus, the wrong teachers, because we're just so awed by a couple fucking nectar of truth that they said. But there's certain things that don't gel. Now, is that okay to judge that? Well, let me put it this way. We're all human beings. We're all having the human experience. And we may be good at something, but really not good in something else. And deciding as a person who's looking to find truth from various teachers, you have to ask yourself, the good stuff's really good, but is the bad things, that's a human experience. Is that really going to bother me? Or is that something like, oh, he's just having or she's having a human experience. Let me move on. It's okay. Or is this going to stick to your craw? And if it is, and you're ruminating about it and making yourself suffer unduly over following a person or not, I would say take some space from that person's teachings and give yourself maybe 6 months to a year, and then revisit it and go, am I still getting the icks on this thing? Or is it like, it's just a human experience? I mean, the person's teaching a lot of nectar. They're not hitting all the marks. Who the fuck is on this planet, really, right? Or it could be, no, it's a hell no. It's a hell no. Not going any further with this person in their teachings. And that's happened to me, where I've had to go, yeah, no, not doing this. Not with this one. So it's up to you. You have to discern what you want in your ascension journey. And you have to feel right about it. You have to feel good in your skin. You have to feel good in your sense of, yeah, that felt fabulous. Like, I feel good about this talk. I'm not confused. You might have more. In fact, a good speaker, a good person that speaks and teaches on the spiritual journey, ascension, manipulation, the day-to-day, on our infrastructure, it should feel as if you've got more questions. You should be walking away from a talk with maybe more questions, because you're going to have aha moments that elicit more questions. Nothing is 100% ever really answered. For some people at the moment in their timeline, that nothing is 100% ever really answered. For some people at the moment in their timeline, that question's been fully answered, and then a year later they go, fuck, I never thought of that question until today. That's how the mind evolves, or the soul evolves, or rather not. Yeah, it's the evolution of the soul while it remembers itself. And that's incredible, because the questions you were asking when you were 14 years old, 28 years old, 36 years old, 40, that's incredible, because the questions you were asking when you were 14 years old, 28 years old, 36 years old, 46. And when you look back as to your spiritual journey, some of you may be very blessed in that you were awakened when you were born, right? But some of you were awakened later on in life, and it makes you no less superior or inferior. There's no, there's no measurement on that. It's not about when you remembered. It's about what you remembered. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, for example, Michael Newton was an atheist until he wasn't at all. And he was asking some interesting question, and allowing his patients, aka clients, under hypnotherapy, right, to really just rip through it. Such sacred, tender space for them. That's why I went into his hypnotherapy program, because I was like, I gotta learn from this. This method is blowing my mind. This is what I want to learn, how to do this. And I haven't looked back. The methods are sound. I've added concepts into my induction to make the inductions much easier. And they include chakra work and pranayama. And because for me, that is going to add clarity, and it's almost like charging your batteries. It's almost like filling your car with a full tank of gas for the road trip, right? You're going to be prepared. You've made sure all the fluids are checked. And that's what you do. And I know that some people just don't do that in induction. I know this because I started seeking hypnotherapy for my own questions back when I was 30. I turned 30, and I did my first one at around 31 and a half. And whenever I had questions, because I couldn't afford a therapist, to me, that was the best therapy. And in the end, it was. When I look back on the levels of healing that I got in the questions answered on my soul's journey in past lives, it answered some pretty volatile questions that I could have never gotten. I would have been on a couch for fucking 10 years to answer those questions in one fucking session, to be honest. So I'm really excited about the time we live in. It is filled with the energy of fear, yes, and you need to swim through it. You need to levitate above it. You need to transmute the fear into gold dust. You need to just know that it either is going to own you or you own it. It's either going to boss you around, or you're going to boss it into doing the right thing, or moving the fuck out of your way so you can move towards the path of your clarity, of really understanding how to self-love, and really mastering your monkey mind to such a level that self-love becomes your second nature. And just having, I don't like the word faith because it's been beaten like a dead dog by various orthodox teachings, but it's a knowing. It's beaten like a dead dog by various orthodox teachings, but it's a knowing. It's the unspoken knowing. That's what I call it. The unspoken knowing is when you know something, but you can't articulate it. You just know it. Like you know you're going to take your next breath. And that's the kind of power that you want to master in yourself. And what you do, that you want to master in yourself. And what you do, you individually reverberates across timelines on this planet. It's the butterfly effect. You know, you've heard the story of the butterfly's wings flapping and create a hurricane across the world. Yes, that's not an analogy. This is not a metaphor. It's an actual truth. I've used the most egregious examples of that truth. And you as an individual, how you think, how you roll in this world, how your consciousness is emitting frequencies out, right, into ethers, is impacting people you will never meet by just how you move on this planet. I remember taking a cup of ayahuasca, or a few cups, and afterwards there's integration, right, with the shaman. And the shaman asked me what I needed to say. And I said, I felt like when I took this cup, I wasn't just taking it for myself, I was taking the opportunity to take the cup. I said, I feel like a sequoia tree. And the sequoia, just so you know, live under one root system. It's the same root system. They communicate together, they know each other, and so on and so forth. And so I felt like as I was taking the cup, I was consciously taking the cup with all these people who wanted to awaken, for all these people who would never take it, for all these people who wouldn't have the money, the ability to take that time for themselves. And that through me, right, they would actually explode into their own awakening. And we do that for each other. It's not arrogance. It's not I'm the chosen one. It's not any of that shit. It's not anything like that. It's what I do affects people I'll never know. And if I read something, let's say I read a book that's mind-blowing, you can pause and read it for your twin. You can pause and read it for your family lineage. You can pause and intentionally read it for the collective ascension and go, this right here, I'm reading it for our awakening. I'm so glad you're here to share it with me. Now let's begin. And you start reading it either in your mind, right, or out loud. It works. I don't know why it works. Who gives a shit why it works? The point is it works. Energy is energy. Intention is intention. And that's how much power we have. And this is why the 1% are doing what they're doing, have been doing what we're doing. It's not new at all. I mean, look, this is why we have fables like Robin Hood, and we have stories after stories of injustice and greed and the subjugation. Braveheart, the movie Braveheart, based on William Wallace. I mean, we have stories after. I mean, we could go on. Justice and greed and the subjugation. Braveheart, the movie Braveheart, based on William Wallace. I mean, we have stories after. I mean, we could go on and on and on forever. The 1% has always known what it was doing. When you watch the movie, the documentary with The Secret with Rhonda Burns, the first opening is about the 1%. It's about the Emerald Tablet and the 1%. And she's feverishly going through these ancient books, these old books from the 1800s, on the truth of manifestation. And the average idiot got the take, well, it's all about money, it's all about making, no, it's all about fucking power. It's all about power. She used the concepts of pedestrian examples for pedestrian minds to hopefully come out of their pedestrian consciousness. So she used what she knew she could use. What, you think she'd go esoteric on these people? Do you think The Secret would have gone fucking viral if she had? No. Oh, it's a lot of mumbo, new age jumbo. Yeah. So she had to, dumb it down to get to people. And it got to a lot of people. And a lot of people, their takeaway was bullshit. They didn't get it. It's like me giving a book to a 3-year-old on calculus. Good luck. Now, the kid could be brilliant. But if it doesn't even know the rudimentary 2 + 2 = 4, we're going to have problems here. And suddenly I'm expecting it to understand calculus. Good luck. That's the level of consciousness that we have to understand. The way we talk, the way we share examples has to be on a level. This is why even in the New Testament, with Yeshua talking to people, he's talking in parables. Parables. Everyone likes a good story. Plato spoke in parables. In fact, some of the Greek plays were based on the metaphoric manipulation of the populace, and or talking about the political system using plays and humor or not, or tragedy. But they would use stages and plays to talk about the situations they were living under. That was their form of rebellion, if you will, on the stage. So as you move into this new age, the age of Aquarius, the Satya Yuga that many people will deny is upon us. Satya Yuga is the golden age, because they want to keep pushing the Kali Yuga. You'll have Hindu sages saying, "Oh, it's still Kali Yuga. It'll be Kali Yuga for another 450 years. It's like 450,000 years." I'm like, yeah, but see, time is a human construct. Time is a human construct. So 450,000 years in human construct is 1 minute in the universal timelines. There is no time. Time bends and flows. It collapses and awakens. The Akashic record library is a moving library. It's not since. The Akashic record library is a moving library. It's not stagnant at all, and never has been and never will. That's why you can manifest. Because in one crossroad moment, you have 100 paths you can take. Probably more, but I'll just go with 100 paths. And each path will bring you to another point. It's funny how we have fairy tales about that. The quest for the Holy Grail, things of that nature. The knight's going in all four corners. It's funny how also the tarot cards connect with, say, some of the symbolism. Like, for example, the sword of Excalibur, which meant truth and abundance for the land. And in tarot, the Ace of Swords is the card of truth and the card of cutting out bullshit. We are a race, a species that has multiple symbolisms throughout. It's a web of these symbolic truths and powers that can activate us asleep or awake. And the 1% has used egregores and systems of fear in various methods, using also orthodox teachings to beat the shit out of our consciousness into submission. I will upload this, and hopefully it'll be on YouTube. Check it out. Follow me on YouTube. And YouTube is got all my lives, and I'm little by little cataloging and uploading a lot of my videos on TikTok onto YouTube. But all of my lives get typically uploaded on YouTube. And there's a couple lives that I think get typically uploaded on YouTube. And there's a couple lives that I think you should check out. Some of them are Raw Talk with the Sacred Masculine, Divine Masculines. Check those out. You'll see them. It's obvious. I mean, all of them are titled, and you can look for my